our diets have changed since then, and there is even more sugar in our diet. We are more obese. So saturated fat and refined sugar, added sugar intake all matter. But he went to Europe and he started studying small little communities. Dr. Keyes is one of these four men. He's all the way to the left holding something in his hand. Then there's a gentleman with a big white bushy mustache. That is Paul Dudley White, who was chairman of cardiology at Harvard Medical School. Very famous doctor. He was President Eisenhower's cardiologist. And it looks like they have a couple guests, one from Japan and one from another part of the world, where they were touring Italy to learn more about their diet and their heart disease risk. Doctors in Italy in the 1950s said, we never see heart attacks. But in Minneapolis, where Dr. Keyes worked, a big research lab, they saw heart attacks all the time. So when they published, this is actually fast forward 25 years later, which would have been in the 1990s, 25-year follow-up of the relationship between saturated fat and your risk of coronary heart death. The thing we don't want to happen to you, the higher the intake of saturated fat, the greater was the risk of dying of heart disease. These are called association studies, but this is one of the most amazing, carefully done worldwide studies. And when they looked at different countries and their blood cholesterol level and what the blood cholesterol level had relate to their risk of dying of heart disease, you can see Northern Europe all the way to the right in the red line. That's Finland. And they often had cholesterols in the 300 plus, and they had a very high death rate in 12,467 men. The United States was very close to Finland, high cholesterol levels, high heart disease rates. But if you look in the lower left, communities like Japan ran generally very low cholesterol levels, and they had very low heart disease deaths. This was mainly 1950s, 60s, a little bit into the 70s. A lot has changed in many communities. The Mediterranean diet area, Southern Europe, Spain, Italy, had lower cholesterols and much lower heart disease risk. In fact, Dr. Keyes is the doctor that described the Mediterranean diet you've heard of over and over, wrote 3 books about it with his wife, Margaret, for the American public. They became very famous and very well-received books, and it really is his credit that we talk about the Mediterranean diet. Further data comes from one of the countries that was involved in that Dr. Keyes 7-country study, and a region of Finland called North Karelia. It's eastern Finland near Russia, where they ate a tremendous amount of saturated fat. 40% of the calories in their diet were from fat, almost all saturated fat. They love sausage, they love cheese, they love butter, they love whole milk. And they were experiencing in the 1960s some of the highest, if not the highest, heart attack rates in the entire world. And they hired a young physician. His name is in green at the very bottom, Pekka Puska. He is retired now, but he's still alive. And Pekka Puska put together a public health plan in this region of Finland called North Karelia. And within about 5 years, amazingly, they were able to drop heart attack rates by 85%. And as a follow-up to that, cancer rates dropped 50%, and all causes of death dropped 50%. Amazing, just by measures like teaching the people to eat beans instead of sausage and use margarines. I know you'll shoot me, but margarines instead of butter. They did educate people about quitting smoking and being active for sure. The rest of Finland saw what was happening, and they got involved in this project. You can see there it says extension of the project nationally. So all of Finland experienced an 80% drop in heart deaths. Amazing data, an intervention trial. There was no control group. I mean, it was public health data. Back in 1999, a study was published everybody forgot about, and people are going to hate nowadays, the Lyon, France, diet heart study. 302 men and women with heart disease. They weren't just volunteers, they had heart disease. The treatment group was a low saturated fat diet. They gave them a high canola oil margarine, very different than butter, which was the typical fat that was used in the cooking in Lyon, France. That's all they did. They followed them for almost 4 years. The group that was on the low saturated fat diet, high in canola oil, had a 65% lower risk of dying of heart disease during the study than the control group. Amazing data, celebrated data. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, an internist in Los Angeles, Dr. Morrison, took his heart patients, and half of them, he said, you continue to eat like people in Los Angeles eat. But half of them he put on a low-fat diet. It wasn't strictly vegan, but there were a lot more plant foods in it than average. You can see a 12-year follow-up published data. Nobody was alive in the control group. These were heart patients. They'd all had a heart attack in the 1940s. And about half of the group was alive on Dr. Morrison's special diet. And in fact, this is what he published in one of his papers. These are the foods to avoid: creamy soups, liver, whole milk, pancakes and waffles, egg yolks, fats of any kind and salad dressings, rich gravies. Amazing foresight in the late 1940s, early 1950s. In his publication here in 1951, American Heart Journal and others, reduction of mortality rate in coronary disease by a low cholesterol, low fat diet. Isn't that amazing? Okay. One of the people that knew about Dr. Lester Morrison was the famous Dr. Dean Ornish. And Dr. Ornish created a research program, ultimately known as the Lifestyle Heart Trial and the Lifestyle Medicine Trial, that used food, but more than food. And you can see the pyramid of foods emphasized vegetables, fruits, beans and legumes, whole grains, and non-fat products. So the overall percent of calories from fat in the diet was less than 10%, but people could eat as much as they wanted of these foods. Moderate exercise, mainly walking. Stress reduction, they taught them yoga and breathing and meditative practices. And of course, they advised them to quit smoking. They advised eliminating oils and meats and olives and avocados and nuts and seeds and excess sugar and alcohol, but not everybody complied. They published the data in 1990, but they did a 5-year follow-up study. That's what you're looking at here. In the Journal American Medical Association, 1998, you can see the first author, Dean Ornish. The other authors are very esteemed, famous, credible, ethical researchers. And they found that what happened to heart disease on the Ornish program or the control program. And this is perhaps the most famous result in cardiology that nobody cares about. I care about it because if we're going to attack heart attacks, we have to know what's right here. This shows at baseline 1 year and 5 year data that was derived from an invasive heart catheterization, okay? These people didn't have the coronary CT angiogram. They had invasive heart catheterization. But the images were read by a computer. This was very advanced at the time. They sent these images down to Houston, where they were being read by one of the co-authors. The black circle is the control group, the people that didn't follow the Ornish program. And at 1 year, their arteries were worse, and at 5 years, their arteries were much worse. This is the amount of narrowing or stenosis on average in their heart arteries. You can do this now by CT scan, but at the time, this was the only way to do it. And if you look at the white boxes, that was the Ornish treatment group. They went down and down. They got less and less narrowed. Now we would look at that and say their soft plaque probably went down if we can measure it the way we now can measure it with these CT scans. This is an example from another leader in this reversal of heart disease field, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic. And you can see that on the left is an angiogram of the heart artery showing severe long narrowing that couldn't be ballooned or stented at the time. And now on the right, that's without balloon, without stent, without bypass. This low-fat, low cholesterol diet did amazing things for this patient who happened to be a general surgeon. So we should have had an amazing celebration by 1998. Game over. We can reverse heart disease using low-cost lifestyle measures. But there's so much apathy about heart disease, even though Dr. Ornish is certainly famous. But very, very few people instituted his program. I started teaching patients the Ornish program in 1990 when I read his original research. But it took till 2010 that our Medicare and Medicaid system said, we've looked at data from the Ornish program and a similar program called the Pritikin program. We think these are scientifically valid. You've done the research, and we have data that these programs save money for heart patients and insurance companies by keeping people out of the hospital. So they developed funding for something called intensive cardiac rehab. Sadly, the only way to get into this program was you already have to have an event, a heart attack, a bypass, a stent, or bad, what's called angina pain. And you could go to a cardiac rehab program and you can not only do some monitored exercise, but you can learn how to cook, you can learn stress reduction, you can learn breathing tips. And these programs are available, but I would estimate certainly less than 20% of the cardiac rehab programs around the United States offer Ornish approved payable cardiac rehab or Pritikin approved payable cardiac rehab. This is an example from my clinic using the carotid intimal medial thickness study, showing that you can actually see plaques get smaller, sometimes much smaller. If you look at the left carotid, there was a 4.9 millimeter plaque that's now measured at 1.5 millimeters. That's more than, half, 60% shrunk. And even that thickness measurement can get much, much better with applying lifestyle, medication, supplements if needed. I'm going to skip that. So the most important thing that we've talked about here is the yellow line. We are born with clean arteries. Sometimes we're born with genetic issues like lipoprotein little a, but we're born with clean arteries. By the time we're 15 or 18, according to the Bogalusa heart study and others, we've got streaks of plaque in our arteries throughout our body. By the time we're having children, let's say our early 30s, we already got demonstrable plaque in the carotid or the femoral or the heart arteries. And by the time we're starting to think about maybe it's time to slow down, maybe that's age 50, 55, 60, we can have very serious plaques. And some people have these even younger in life than this shows. But the yellow line says we can make an effort with using lifestyle and other measures to reverse the soft plaque in the arteries. Okay, step 8, just a little quick introduction to some interesting data you should know about. Do you need a stent? Do you need a bypass? Well, you have to know about the ISCHAEMIA study. You can see the word there. That's a Latin word, a medical word for lack of blood flow. And this was a major $100 million research study done around the world, including all over the United States, involving 5,179 men and women that needed to have bypass or stents according to their heart catheterization. But they were able to be put on medication, and then by a randomized system done through institutional review boards and ethic committees, that half of them didn't get stents or bypasses. They were taught about diet and lifestyle and medication.